Hey, Jane Lee here. So, for a while now, I've been working really hard on a special multi-part series of Full Story, and I just want to give you a sneak peek before it launches next week. It's called Who Screwed Millennials? Millennials will be the first generation worse off than our parents, and in this series, we're trying to figure out why. So we dive deep into the topics which most impact young Australians: housing, student debt, and the changing nature of work. Have a listen. I'm Jane Lee.
And I'm Matilda Bosley.
We live in a time where, for most millennials, our economic futures are less about how hard we work and more about how wealthy our parents are.
Millennials are a generation that is living through a series of broken promises.
As a millennial, how do you feel about the economic future of this generation?
Well, it certainly doesn't look great.
But because conversations about this generational divide often focus on the here and now, how terrible things are right now, it's easy to lose sight of how we got here.
We're seeing a real shift in how we talk about economic instability and whose fault it is.
So in this special Full Story series from Guardian Australia, we're figuring out who screwed millennials.
You really could not think of a better combination of two tax policies that are going to set fire to a housing market.
We're figuring out how something that had nothing to do with housing screwed millennials out of the Australian dream.
What do Australians invest in? They invest in property. And so suddenly we had a huge tax boon for people who invested in property.
We're investigating how good debt turned bad.
It wasn't the original idea that was wrong.
And screwed millennials out of an affordable education.
The fact that HECS has and can be politicised depending on who's in government creates certain problems.
They started out saying, no, we're not going to deregulate university fees. There'll never be an American-style higher education system. There won't be any $100,000 university fees under this government. And then they did pretty much all of that.
And looking back, trying to find where and when our work became so insecure.
Emotionally, I was really bad. Sometimes I talk to my husband like, I think I'm a slave here in Australia. I'm working and have no life.
Brands began chasing bigger profit margins for themselves, and it was not really a bargaining process because the brand had all the power.
More and more workers are left to bargain one-on-one against their boss rather than to have a union to do that for them. And as a result, people get paid a lot less.
Find out who screwed millennials by subscribing to Full Story wherever you get your podcasts.
The series will be in your feeds from March 25th.